Hi there. We're learning today how to solve simultaneous equations. The objective is written down here. So the objective is solving simultaneous equations. Simultaneous equations are actually linear equations with two unknowns such as x and y. Linear equation with two unknowns such as x and y. So we have here two linear equations that we would like to solve. To solve means finding the value of x as well as the value of y. Before we get to learning this skill, let's start with this warm-up that I'm sure you all know. Let's draw a line graph for each of the following equations. And let's start by drawing the following two tables, which includes two values of x, and then we're going to find the value of y by substitution, and then we're going to address the point as x comma y because that's how we address any point on the coordinate plane. Let's take the following values of x, though you can take any values of x that you like, but I chose here -2 and 0 for the first equation and -2 and 0 for the second equation. So let's substitute now to find the values of y. If x is equal to -2 in the first equation, which is 3x minus 2y, then when we substitute -2, so it's 3x, which means 3 times -2 minus 2y is equal to 0. Let's simplify and let's take into consideration the order of operation. So we start with the multiplication. So 3 times -2 comes down to -6 minus 2y is equal to 0. Now we can apply opposite operation. So +6 plus 6. So the -6 is cancelled on the left side of the equation, and 0 plus 6 is 6. -2y will come down. So we will end up with -2y is equal to 6. Get rid of the coefficient of y by dividing all by -2. So the coefficient of y is -2. We get rid of it by applying opposite operation because -2y means -2 times y. So to get rid of -2, we divide all by -2. So 6 divided by -2, the answer will be -3. So y will come down to -3. And then let's put this in the table. -3, and the first point that we're going to plot on our coordinate plane is -2 and -3. Now that you remember how to substitute, you can substitute the rest of the values in both equations and you will end up with the following values. So we're going to plot -2 and -3, 0 and 0 to draw the first line graph, and then we're going to plot -2 and 11, and then 0 and 7 to draw the second line graph. So this is our coordinate plane. X, the horizontal axis, and y is the vertical axis, and they interact at 0, 0. And let's plot 0, 0, -2 and 3. How do we know -2 and 3? -2 is on the x-axis, so you go to the left 1, 2, and then because it's -3, so you go down 1, 2, 3, and that's how we plot it. And then let's draw the line graph actually, And don't forget to write the address of this line graph, which is 3x minus 2y is equal to 0. Let's plot 0, 7, 0, 7. So 0, we don't move, so we start always from here. Since the x is 0, then we don't move to the right or to the left. And 7, so it's positive, so you go up on the y-axis. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. So 0, 7. And you plot the second point in the exact same way. So draw the line graph, and don't forget to put the address of this line graph, which is 2x plus y is equal to 7. Now, find the coordinates of the intersection point where the two lines actually meet. So you start always from 0, 0, and x, since we're going to the right, it's positive, 1, 2. So x is 2. And then you're going up, so y is positive as well. So 1, 2, 3. So it's 2 and 3. And that is the solution of the simultaneous equations. Meaning, if you substitute x in the first equation, which is 3x minus 2y is equal to 0, you're going to end up with y equal to 3. And if you substitute x as 2 in the second equation, which is 2x plus y equal to 7, you're going to end up with y equal to 3. So this is the solution for the simultaneous equations. It satisfies both or each equation. Now, that's how we solve simultaneous equation graphically. But we're going to learn today how to solve simultaneous equations algebraically. We have two methods, substitution or elimination. Let's start with the substitution method. And I'm going to use the exact same equations that we solved graphically. 3x minus 2y is equal to 0. 2x plus y is equal to 7. Let's start with the first step by addressing each equation. Let's call the first one as equation 1 and the second one as equation 2. And then let's identify the coefficient of x and the coefficient of y in each of the two equations. So the coefficient of x in the first one is 3. The coefficient of y in the first equation is negative 2, not 2, negative 2. The coefficient of x in the second equation is 2, and the coefficient of y is 1. Now, since in the second equation, y has a coefficient of 1, then it would be easier for me to rewrite the second equation in terms of y, meaning I'm going to make y my subject. So make y the subject. How do we make y the subject? By applying opposite operation. So meaning I'm going to leave y on its own on the left side of the equation and send everything else or every single term to the right side of the equation. So we're getting rid of here 2x. So subtract 2x from each side of the equation. So 2x plus y minus 2x is equal to 7 minus 2x, because whatever I apply to the left of the equation, to the left side of the equation, I must apply it to the right side of the equation. So 2x is cancelled from the left side, y is left on its own, and what's left on the right side is 7 minus 2x. Now, substitute y in the first equation. So we rewrote the second equation in terms of y. Now, substitute y in the first equation. So if y is equal to 7 minus 2x, then the first equation 3x minus 2y, which means 2 times y. And we're going to place y in brackets because y is not given as a number. We did not find it as a number, we found it as an expression. So that's why it must be placed inside brackets. The second step here, so we have here an equation with one unknown. We need first to get rid of the brackets by expanding. So negative 2 times 7 is negative 14, and then negative 2 times negative 2x is plus 4x. So we expand, 3x will come down as is, and like I said, negative 2 times 7 is going to be negative 14, negative 2 times negative 2x plus 4x. Now you're going to simplify. 3x plus 4x is 7x. X plus 4x is going to be 7x. 7x minus 14 is equal to 0. Again, this is an equation with one unknown, which is x. Now, apply opposite operation by adding 14 to both sides of the equation. So the negative 14 is going to be cancelled on the left, and 0 plus 14 is actually 14, so 7x is equal to 14. Get rid of the coefficient by dividing all by 7, and x will come down to 2. Now, you substitute the value of x in any of the two equations, whether it's in equation 1 or in equation 2, we're going to end up with the exact same value. So substitute the value of x in any of the two equations. If x, let's choose the first equation for instance. If x is equal to 2, and then 3 times 2 is equal to 6, minus 2y is equal to 0. Get rid of 6 because we're solving for y here. So we're applying opposite operation. So we're going to subtract 6 from both sides of the equation. So the 6 is cancelled on the left, and 0 minus 6 is actually negative 6. So this will come down to negative 2y is equal to negative 6. Get rid of the coefficient by dividing all by negative 2. So y is equal to 3. And that's what we ended with graphically. Now, let's use the elimination method. The elimination method, we're going to start with the exact same steps that we started with in the substitution method. We're going to let's first address each of the equations, equation 1, equation 2, and then let's decide which of the two variables, x or y, I'm going to eliminate. Let's say that I decided to eliminate y. So let's identify the coefficient of the variable that I'm trying to eliminate. So the coefficient in the first equation is negative 2, and the coefficient in the second equation is 1. Now, make the coefficient of y the same in both equations. So we're going to do that. We're going to multiply the second equation by, so we're going to multiply the first equation by 1, but even if anything multiplied by 1, it's going to remain the exact same. And we're going to multiply the second equation by negative 2. We're going to end up with the first equation as is, and when we multiply the second equation by negative 2, so negative 2 times 2x is negative 4x, negative 2 times y is negative 2y, and negative 2 times 7 is negative 14, as you can see here. We multiply negative 2 by each term in the equation. And we're going to end up with negative 4x minus 2y is equal to negative 14. Now, the new equations are as following. We made the coefficient of the variable that we are eliminating which is y, the exact same. As you can see here, negative 2 in the first equation is the coefficient of y, and negative 2 is the coefficient of y in the second equation. Now, place the second equation underneath the first equation and then subtract, as you can see here. So 3x minus 2y is equal to 0 is the first equation. We placed the second equation underneath, and we're going to subtract, as you can see. So you say 3x minus 4x, which is 3x, plus 4x, which is 7x. Negative 2y minus 2y, which is negative 2y plus 2y. The y is eliminated, and 0 minus 14 is actually 0 plus 14, which is 14. If we simplify this, it's going to be 7x is equal to 14. So we're going to divide all by 7 because we're getting rid of the coefficient of x. And accordingly, 14 divided by 7 is 2, so x is equal to 2. Now, substitute before we end up, substitute the value of x in any of the two equations, and we're going to find the value of y. I hope you understood both methods. I'm going to give you this trial to try it on your own. Solve the problem by forming a pair of simultaneous equations. I helped you up there with a hint of how to form the equations. Find two numbers. The question is, find two numbers with a sum of 15 and a difference of 4. If the first number is x and the second number of y, the sum, it means the addition of the two numbers. So it's x plus y is equal to 15. This is my first simultaneous equation. And the difference, which means the subtraction, x minus y is equal to 4. Please try to solve it on your own. You can always go back through the video to follow the steps, and I'm sure that you're going to be very much able to solve it. Please send your solution in the comment, or you can send it into my inbox. Subscribe to my YouTube channel. And like my videos and share them if you find them useful. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you sometime soon.